Hey Flosstube, this is Kim back again with another cross-stitching weekly update. This is Flosstube number 68. Today is the 11th of May 2020. Welcome back. I hope everyone is enjoying their mania. If you're doing mania, whatever kind of mania you're doing. Last week I was predicting that I would work on either 2 or 3 pieces to show you for this week, but I have an amazing 5 pieces to show you, 4 of which are full coverage. So let's get into the stitchy goodness, shall we? So the first thing I did is I finished my page on Beauty and the Beast 2017 by Tilton Crafts over here on the beast's face and the background. So I now have row 2 finished. That was page 10 of the design. And I have it off the Q-snap, so there you go. There is rows 1 and 2, pages 1 through 10. My goal for this piece for 2020 is 2 pages, so I still have 1 more page to go for my goal. And of course, I have one national park in work for Full Coverage Fanatics National Park Challenge. So I'll definitely be working on this again and moving back to Belle's side. And the next page will have the rose on it along with more blue background. So there you go. There's a close-up. I could get really close up, but then all you're going to focus on is the fabric show through, which isn't as bright in real life as it is because of how this Samsung S20 works. So there you go. There's 2 rows of pages on Beauty and the Beast. And then I picked up Supersized Color Expansion Museum Shelf to get my 2-page, my full page and my partial page done here. So you will see in the very corner the tusks of the mastodon and the bottom of his legs that show here with the book background, and then all the stegosaurus and the tail. It didn't seem like I had that many stitches left to get a page finish. It was a lot of colors, a lot of color changing. I got it done in 1 day, but it was all day changing colors because it is color expansion. There's 125 colors in this piece. 739 tent stitches to get the page finish. And there you go. So you see the Stegosaurus is complete in his fossilized stone and the T-Rex tail. And then if I can hold this up against my head, you see in this corner, these are the tusks of the mastodon. So just barely touching this page and going into the next one. So there is Museum Shelf. I'm going to be putting this one down for a while since I've been working on it every month since February. We'll give my other pieces some love. I do have my goal for this piece for 2020, I put 4 full pages. And so far I only have 2. So you will see it again. But it's going to take a little break. So, I forgot to say, Beauty and the Beast, to get that page finish, from the last time you saw it, was 3,900 tent stitches. And then 739 on Museum Shelf. And then, I didn't think I was going to work on any more non-full coverage this month because of my page finish mania, but on Wednesday the week 19 released on Peppermint Purple's 52 weeks of Blackwork sale, and everyone was curious about this one because it's the short wide block across the whole width of the piece, and we didn't know what kind of things she was going to do. Well, it's really cool. She released 2 different filler patterns and an alphabet with numbers and ampersands, so all different a few symbols to go along with it. And she gave a few suggestions of what you could fill it in. You could do, you know, a year of black work, or you could put a name, whether it's a wedding sampler, if you want to make it like that, or a birth sampler, or if you want to annotate it as something about the pandemic or the lockdown. She wanted you to be creative and use that block however you wanted. And you could use the fillers as borders and then letter in the middle, or you could just use the fillers if you didn't want any letters. So as I was considering what to do, I did week 18 on Wednesday night. After I had finished, I had just enough time after I finished this to do week 18, because those blocks don't take me that long. And then Thursday, I opened up, I could have used graph paper, but I just opened up one of my programs that I have for cross-stitching software. And I considered, because I've been using this piece as Halloween / autumn colors. And so I wanted to see if my idea would fit. And it does, because there's this long week for week 19, and then in week 34, there's a similar long block. So if you had a longer quote, you could split it up between the two blocks, which is what I ended up doing. So, I also switched my colors. Now that I knew what week 19 was going to be, instead of using the bright orange or the dark orange, I used that for week 18 here. And then I used the gray of the borders for the filler pattern. And I pulled out DMC 3799, so it was really dark, so you could read my letters. Double, toil, and trouble. And then down in week 34 will be fire, burn, and cauldron, bubble. It all fits. She is going to release other filler patterns. She doesn't plan on releasing, you know, anything special for that week 34. But she said, you know, if you need to use that second long block, then go ahead and do so. So, a Halloween type quote for a Halloween themed piece. And this quote gave me an idea for our June weekly challenge in Full Coverage Fanatics, which we haven't announced yet, but probably will in the next couple of weeks. So look out for that if you're in the group and enjoy your full coverage and weekend challenges. So after that, on the rest of Thursday, and I think this took me 3 days. Yeah. I picked up Half Blood Prince by Tilton Crafts. This is the 35 color sepia piece. And I was right here on this background page, and I just have the beginning of that little tower, tiny tower of Hogwarts. So this one was 4,500 tent stitches for the page finish. So I got that done in 3 days. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That was fun to fill it in. Again, like I've been, most of the time when I start doing a page cross country by color, I do the most used color first. But on this piece, for some reason, I just end up doing other big blocks of color. And then the most used color is kind of all over the place. Is DMC 738. And I end up filling that one in at the end when it's the only color left on the page. So a little bit different way to do it, which it makes stitching out different whips interesting when you're not stitching them all the same way, I believe, in my opinion. So there you have the beginning of Hogwarts Castle. So this next page, well, I can't say confetti because there's only 35 colors in the piece, but will certainly take a bit longer as there's more detail for the Hogwarts Castle. However, my 2020 goal on this piece was 2 pages. I did this page, page 2 and 3, so I finished my goal. It will come out one more time so I can finish the park. I forgot which park I have this going for, but as I said, I did 4,500 tent stitches, so I've got 3,500 more to do to finish the park. But that won't be enough for another page. So that is Half-Blood Prince. And then yesterday, I went to my next full coverage piece. I didn't think I'd be going through all these whips so fast for my page finish mania. I pulled out Oh Baby. Yesterday was Mother's Day, so the irony that I pulled out Oh Baby on Mother's Day. And so this is the one where I'm cropping out all this. So you only have this part, and I'm working on this page, the last page I have left of the second row. You see this really dark section, just the way the light is hitting. And I worked on it today as well. So yesterday and today so far, I have put in 1,800 black stitches. So I outlined the section of black, and I outlined the few little bits that are coming in, and then I just got to work filling. So I'll finish filling in the black in this section right here tonight, and then start working on the other colors. This is a full page, and then the partial page is only 12 stitches wide, so it's a really skinny partial page, just like on Friends Forever. And that's my 2020 goal on this one, is just to finish this page. So it'll be my second full page on it this year, because I finished this one earlier this year. So 2 full pages and a partial was my 2020 goal on this one. Now, that's not to say that I won't go back to these pieces, but I'm going to try to reach my goal on all my full coverage whips before surpassing the goal, besides, doing the little bit that's for the park challenge. So before finishing another page on Half-Blood Prince, I'd like to meet my page goal on all my other full coverage whips. We'll see if it happens. And so those are the pieces I worked on this week. That brings my page finish mania to 4 full pages, 2 partial pages. I have 6 national parks in work for the Full Coverage Phonetics National Park Challenge. Excuse me. And we'll just keep going. We'll see how many pages I can get done this month. After Oh Baby, I thought on my maybe list for whips I would work on was Star Wars. It's still on my maybe list. And Beauty and the Beast is now on my maybe list, since I have another page to do on that one. But then I looked again at Sunday Delight by Randall Spangler, and I didn't think I had much feathered into the next page. But I do, because of that giant banana, if you remember the last time I worked on it in December. So after Oh Baby, I will pull out Sunday Delight, because I haven't worked on it this year, and I'd like to get 2 pages done on that one. So Oh Baby, Sunday Delight, and then the maybe list is Star Wars, and back to Beauty and the Beast. This week is my wedding anniversary. My husband and I will be celebrating 17 years, and over half of our wedding anniversaries have been spent apart. So it's not it's not new to be spending it apart and just be sending, loving messages to each other without actually being together to celebrate our wedding anniversary. It is also Spencer's birthday on Wednesday. He turns 18 years old. He's doing great down there in Louisiana. They've had a cold spell. It's been going down to about 45, and he thinks he's about to die. So just another reason to show that he's not meant for life up here in North Dakota. Hopefully by next week, I will have full pictures for you, because my friend who rides and takes care of him, she has a broodmare that is due to foal any day now. And we thought that she was going to have her foal for about the last week. She's really good at not telling us exactly when she's going to foal. So hopefully to have some cute foal pictures for you next week. We had snow on Saturday. We got about 1.5 inches of snow, and it actually accumulated and stuck until it stopped snowing and then melted. So by the end of the day, you wouldn't have even known that it had snowed. But we're still cool. We might reach 50 degrees today. But then by the end of the week, we'll be back in the 60s. So that's May for you here in North Dakota. My last stitchy comment is I'm still waiting to hear from Selma Hahn as far as my giveaway back a couple videos ago where I was tearing out charts from the magazine. I'm still waiting to get some sort of contact from her for her address so I can mail off her chart. So Selma Hahn, please contact me either Facebook Messenger, Instagram, direct message. Contact me through the Etsy, my Etsy shop that I always link below. You can contact the seller. So find a way to send me a message and I will mail that off to you. Okay, that is all my stitching content. If you don't want to hear Air Force stories, then I will see you next week. One of my last stories from Luke Air Force Base, where I was the detachment commander, concerns the monthly promotion ceremonies that the base had at the end of the month, every month. For enlisted troops, once you're selected for promotion, you don't pin on right away, or you don't sew on your new rank right away. The Air Force, depending on, there's huge algorithms and stuff to determine, and this is officer ranks too. Once you get to major and above, you get line numbers. So you're selected for promotion and you have a line number. So once every month they release, okay, line numbers 0 through 250 will promote 1 June the next month. So you know that you're about to get promoted, or you're about to pin on your new rank. So at the monthly promotion ceremony at the end of the month, we celebrate those enlisted members who are about to sew on their new rank. They get we all meet at the club, which Air Force bases used to have an officers club and an enlisted club. Well, almost all bases now have combined those, and it's just the club. So big room with a little stage area, and the wing commander hands out certificates and shakes their hand to congratulate them on sewing on their next rank. So going into it, at the end of every month, you know who from your unit is going to be recognized. So for those months where some of my instructors were getting ready to sew on their next rank, again, they were all staffs, techs, and master sergeants. So you would go there and cheer and support your folks as their name was called, and they walk across the stage, get their certificate, shake the wing commander's hand, and stop for a picture. So it's a thing that when your troop's name is called and they're going across the stage, is for the people in the audience from that unit to do a unit specific cheer. Because at least at Luke Air Force Base, when I was there was kind of a contest. Okay, so the loudest, most exuberant unit won the trophy at the end of the promotion ceremony. So, but we're not a full squadron. But the size of the room and the number of units, of course, which units are attending and how many people they have depends on how many of their troops are actually sewing on. So the numbers are always changing as to how many people are there and cheering for their folks. But being as I only had about 50 instructors anyways, we'd have about 20 people that would show up when we had instructors sewing on their new rank. However, sometimes some of the MRA instructors also pulled their MRA students to like stand along the back to help us with the cheer, so that we would have a better chance of winning the trophy, and also supporting, like if it was MRA instructors that were pitting on rank, you know, more support for them as they walked across the stage. So the cheer was, of course, I had to start it as the commander, and being, you know, I had FTD and MRA. So depending on who it was, certain parts of the cheer would be louder than others because of who was with me from the unit to support us. I do have a little visual aid, one of my going away gifts from the guys, that actually has the cheer on it. So I would say, screaming out loud, you know, like really super loud, training is the key. And they would shout out after me, FTD. I'd say showing the way. They would say MRA. And then I would yell out schools in session. And the fun part is that we had purchased a, what you think of like a really big school bell or fire alarm bell that's like this big, and you have the little thing that hits it really loud. Well, they put it on a board, and they had a switch with a button with batteries, so that I'd scream out schools in session, and one of my guys had possession of the bell and would ring it for a few seconds. So really super loud, like really super loud. Like these bells are huge. Or if you think of a bell at like a horse race, that bell that rings when they open up the gates. So really loud bell. So that was our cheer. Training is the key, FTD. Showing the way, MRA, and then I'd be like, schools in session, a lot louder. So this is a fun memento that they gave me. Our detachment patch, detachment coin, the front side and the back side. Of course, a little Sparty for me with captain insignia. And what this is on is a painted engine blade. I told you that both the F-15E Strike Eagle and the F-16 have the same engine on the inside. And those blades go bad based on wear and if they ingest any FOD, foreign object damage. And so those blades get replaced. Well, this is, you know, I've got more visual aids for you. But this is the first stage. So when you look in an aircraft engine, even, you know, flying commercially, you see shapes like this, a whole bunch of them around in a circle. Here's where it attaches to the center of the engine. So, and here's the back of it. Of course, they painted it, but just to show you, it does have some structure to it. It's not just a weak fan blade. So this provides structure to it. And then this was just some safety wire put on there so I can hang this up. But an aircraft engine works on compressing the air. So the Pratt & Whitney 220 engine has 13 stages of fan blades. And each stage, the fan blades get smaller as the air gets compressed smaller and smaller. So just to show you, this is stage 1. So that's the biggest one. In another thank you gift from Seymour, I have another example of a fan blade. Again, same engine. I don't know what stage this is. Probably about 9 or 10 out of the 13. So just to show you another stage, I'm not going to show this part. It's got my husband's name on it, but there's coins here where they used another. This is when my husband worked in the propulsion flight where they worked on the engine. So this is a polished, they're not normally this shiny. You can see this side is a lot duller. So they polished up an engine blade for him. The 13th stage, the smallest one, the blade is about this big. So you can see each stage gets lower and lower, or smaller and smaller, before the 13th stage is about this big. I used to have a Memento from Propulsion Flight, but it kind of fell apart, and it had one of the 13th stage blades on there. And then the other, my husband, one of his other gifts, this just has his last name so I can show it. This is a picture. Now it's had a filter applied to it, so obviously it's not like a straight photograph, but it's a photograph with a filter on it. This is inside a look of the Propulsion Flight at Seymour Johnson. One of the engines broken apart into pieces. So they have all kinds of these engine rails throughout the shop. And they have engine trailers, so that the engines come out of the jet on the trailer, come into the shop, and then are loaded onto the rails. And the engine techs can split apart the different areas of the engine. So if you see right here, those fan blades, that's the first stage. That's the big one that I just showed you. And then right in here, all those stages are in there before it gets to the burning stage and the back end where the afterburner can come out. So there's a cool picture from the engine shop at Seymour. That is it for your Air Force stories for today. I have decided not to share the instructor fatality that I had at the DET, just because I think we have enough bad news in our lives right now. So the next stories I have to tell, I'll have to talk to my husband, because he's got some cool stories when he was stationed down in Louisiana. Some really cool aircrew type stories. So I'll share those with you next. Everybody have a good stitching week. Enjoy your mania, and I'll see you next week, guys. Bye.